In this video, I'd like to share with you something called Google Classroom. It is now currently a free web application that anybody who has a free Gmail account has the possibility of using. Google has, it used to be in the past that it was only available to a school domain, and they have now opened that up for everybody. I believe that this does meet the standards for coaches. Number 1A, which is the visionary leadership, and able to contribute to the development, communication, and implementation of a shared vision for the comprehensive use of technology to support a digital age education for all students, as well as the standards for coaches, number 3C, which shows coaches being able to work with teachers to model the use of online and blended learning, digital content, collaborative learning networks to support and extend student learning. As a district that is currently rolling out Google Classroom, both of these work well in my current position. So to get started, we're going to take a look at classes. You can get here from the 3x3 tiles, or what we like to call the waffle. You should see the classroom icon. If you do not see it here, that's okay. You can always go to classroom.google.com, and both of those ways will bring it up for you. To get started, you click on this plus sign to create or join a class. And today we're going to go ahead and create the class. Since this is a private account and not a school domain, it is asking how we are using it. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. At this point, we usually recommend that you put your name as part of the class name somewhere. That way, if students have more than one teacher that is using this, they can find yours quickly and easily. The section may be something like the trimester that you're in, or semester, or for secondary, maybe a period that the subject is being taught, and then obviously your subject. Then you hit create, and it does a little bit of this work for you. So once it has created it, you'll see here that we have the basic color scheme that has already been chosen. You do have the ability to select a different theme if you choose. They give you a gallery of lots of options here, as well as some patterns that you can choose. When you choose one of these and select it as your theme, it does a little color matching for you. So you can see here that my bar and even some of the background changed to a lighter color. Now, this first page is what is called your stream. It is your home page. It's the same spot that your students will go to once they get logged in. And here is where you will start putting things like assignments, announcements, or even a question. We'll get to that in just a minute. You also have another tab or page for students. And in this section, you can invite students by their email if you already know it, or you can give them a class code. They would go back to the plus sign that was just like what we had here at the beginning, right here. Once they have that plus sign, they're going to be pressing join a class instead of creating a class. When they join the class, you need to give them this code here. You are able to display it and even make it full screen so that they can put it all in themselves. And once they are in, they will see that stream page or the home page. Now, in your students section, as students start entering your class, you'll see all of their names listed here. You also have the ability here as the teacher to allow students to comment and post in your classroom, or if you only want them to comment, or if you want to turn off both of those and only the teacher comments and posts. I'm going to leave that on for everybody right now. Our final page or tab is your About section. In here, you again have the name of your class with the section that you called it. If you want to, you can put a description or even a classroom here if you choose, and go ahead and save that. We usually recommend that you put class materials here, things such as your classroom rules, a rubric, grading scale, things that you want to be available year round would go in this section. And then you can post them for students and parents to find easily. The nice piece here is that Google will also create for you a Classroom Drive folder. Inside of that, there will be a folder for each student. So you'll be able to see all of their work. You also have a classroom calendar. Anytime you create an announcement or assignment, it will go directly to this calendar so that students know when things are due, as well as your regular Google Calendar. Students will see these three options as well as a possibility to email the teacher. And finally, on this page, you have the ability to invite other teachers. So if you have a paraprofessional or a co-teacher, or you're on a shared contract, is a possibility for you to invite multiple teachers to join you. So let's go back to our stream here and get a few things started. Right now, you'll see that we don't have any work that's due. Once we start putting in assignments, that will show up here. And I'm going to talk about topics here in just a minute. So notice that that's where that will be. The plus sign is where you go anytime you want to create an announcement. That is exactly what it sounds like. You would put something there that would be, for example, library books due on Monday, or quiz coming up on Friday, things that are exactly like that, an announcement that you want students to remember. And those do go to your calendar. So that's kind of a nice reminder piece. There's also a spot for you to create an assignment, which I'll show you in just a minute. Or if you want to just create a question where students can answer it right there in the stream. This is kind of nice for a ticket out the door, or if you wanted students to be able to vote on something, you can use that as well. So let's look at the assignment because that one's a little more in depth. What you want to do here is if you have multiple classes, it does give you the ability to create an assignment and put it into multiple classes at one time. So you don't have to go in and create it over and over again. You just check mark the box for which classes you want, and then you can have it in multiple places and it will show where it's going. You will also have the ability to differentiate for your students. Again, once there are students in the class, they're listed here, and you can check or uncheck which students are going to get which assignments. So nobody knows what each other is getting. It will only show up in their stream. So, kind of a nice way to differentiate that so that you can have different topics or levels of abilities for students. You want to go ahead and title your assignment that you're putting out. So if I was doing nouns for something, you would also have ability to put instructions if you choose. You don't have to. They can be right on the page that you're going to give them. You can put a due date, which will automatically set for you, or you can choose the date that you want, as well as an optional time, which is 11:59 for the default of 11:59 p.m. I'm sorry, of that due date that's chosen. All righty. You also have the ability of attaching something. So if you have something on your computer drive or a thumb drive, you could get that and attach it here. You can get something from your Google Drive that's been created. You can attach to a YouTube video, or you could put a link to another website if you wanted them to go somewhere else. I'm going to demonstrate with the Google Drive ability. When I choose the application or document that I want, I now have the ability here to allow the students to just view it, which would be like a read-only file. I can allow students to edit the file, which means that they would all be editing the same file at the same time or whenever they get logged in. Or I can use this like a virtual copy machine and make a copy for each of my students so they're all doing their own. Usually that's what I like to do so that it's not as confusing for the students. And one final piece that I forgot to share is in creating a topic. So here, this would be like a label that you could do, and those will show up later as an easy way to find the assignments later for your students. The final piece is that you can assign it immediately, you can schedule it for a later date, or you can save it as a draft and come back to use that. I'm going to go ahead and assign it just by clicking that blue button. And now on the teacher side, it looks like this, telling me how many students have completed it or not. And the students will get this piece with a copy of their own for them to click and open. You can always go back and edit or delete an assignment. So Google is very nice that it allows you to do that anytime that you want to. Hope that you have enjoyed learning Google Classroom.